Hi guys, this week we're going to be cooking macaroni cheese. As always, we start by washing our hands and making sure we've removed any jewellery, watches, things like that. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we're checking we've got all the ingredients. So we start with 1 cup of macaroni, 1 tablespoon of margarine, half an onion, 1 slice of ham, or about 50 grams of ham sliced. Okay, then 1 tablespoon of plain flour. Okay, we've got half cup of milk. Okay, about half a can of tomato soup. Okay, teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, half a teaspoon of dry mustard, quarter of a teaspoon of paprika. Okay, some oil and some salt that we put into our boiling water. Okay, the first thing we need to do is make sure our oven is preheated to 200 degrees. Then we're going to get onto our macaroni. This needs to be cooked before we do the sauce. Okay, so we put a pot of water on to boil. Okay, you've got to make sure that water is boiling before you actually put that macaroni in. If you don't do that, what's going to happen is your macaroni is all going to clump together and it's not going to cook evenly. You'll get some pieces, you get chewy bits, and you don't want that. You want your macaroni to cook evenly all the way through. While we're waiting for that to boil, we'll prepare the onion. Okay, we need half an onion here and we need to dice that. Okay, first thing we need to do is take the outer layer off. Okay, there we go, put that over there. Okay, now what we're going to do is dice it. The way we do that is you leave the end on and then we cut down. Okay, this way everything is kept together and you tend not to cry as much, because what makes you cry is the inside of the onion, when all them juices come out and the fumes from the onion, and that makes you cry. If you can keep your onion together, okay, until almost the last minute or until you're just about to put it in your pan, then what you're going to do is you're going to reduce the chance of you actually all them fumes getting into your eyes. Okay, so that's now ready. That's now almost ready. We're going to wait for this water to boil and we'll continue. Okay, that water's boiling now, so we're ready to put the pasta in. Okay, give it a quick stir when you first put it in. Okay, then allow that to come to the boil again. Boil that for about 10 minutes and your pasta will be cooked. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over to the other stove just to finish off that cooking process so we can start our sauce. Okay, now we're ready to make the sauce. We start by slicing our onion. Remember, we've cut that vertically down there. Now we're going to cut it crossways. Okay, and still trying to keep the onion together to reduce the amount of that the juice is getting into your eyes. Okay, so that's all ready to go now. Now we're going to now put some butter in the pan. Okay, and we're going to start frying off that onion in that butter. Okay, just keeping that moving around. Next thing we need to do is make what we call a roux. Now, a roux is equal parts butter and flour. It's the basis of a lot of sauces. Okay, so the butter's in there melted. The onion has just started to fry off there a little bit. I'll just move this a little bit closer just so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, once the onion starts to go clear, okay, what we need to do is add our flour. Okay. Add that flour in until it's all mixed evenly through. Okay, the next thing we need to do is start adding, we need to add our bacon or our ham in there. Okay. Then we need to start adding some of the liquids. Now, milk can go in next. Okay, tomato sauce goes in. Tomato sauce, it's actually a tomato soup mix, sorry, goes in. Okay, your powdered mustard, paprika, all these go in. Worcestershire sauce. Okay, and we're going to stir that until it thickens. Okay, it shouldn't take too long to thicken. It's just got to come back up to the boil and it'll start thickening. Now the process of a starch, or in this case the flour, thickening in a sauce or a liquid is called gelatinization. Okay, it's one of the functional properties of food. Okay, so we're going to bring that back up to the boil, okay, or just before the boil, before we're going to add our cheese to that. You can see that sauce is now starting to thicken and come to the boil. Now we're going to add our cheese to the mixture. Okay, remember we have to we'd save some cheese for the top of the mac cheese. Okay, we're going to stir that now until all that cheese is actually dissolved into the mixture. You may ask why we put the tomato soup in there. It just gives it an extra flavour, gives it a nice depth of flavour. You'll find that different recipes from different mac cheese recipes, some will have the tomato soup in them, some won't. Okay, but give this one a go. You'll be surprised. It's very nice. Okay, we have been cooking this at the school now for over 20 years and most students really love it. Okay, now that sauce is ready to go. So what we're going to do now is just wait for our pasta to cook and then we're going to combine it all together. We'll be back when the pasta's cooked. Okay, now we're ready to assemble our mac cheese. First thing we need to do is mix in the pasta with the sauce. Now, let's move this over here. The pasta has been drained in a colander and there we go. Okay, so you make sure that's well drained using a colander and then we can mix that through. Okay, make sure all that pasta is well coated in that sauce. So I'll put that over here for now. Okay, next thing we need to do, because we're going to bake this, is brush a pie dish with some oil. This will make it just easier to clean a bit later. Okay, it will help that cheese, help prevent that cheese from sticking to your sticking your pie dish. Okay, we then put that in. Okay, all that mac cheesy goodness. Okay. Right. Then what we're going to do is put the cheese that we've left over from earlier. We're going to put that on the top, just so that cheese, when it goes in the oven, melts, puts a nice coating on the top of that. Okay, this now goes into the oven just for about 10 minutes or less. Okay, just until that cheese melts on top and creates a nice brown coating on top. I'm going to put this in the oven. We'll be back in a sec to serve up. Mac cheese has now been in the oven for about 10 minutes and the top's nice and brown. There we go, macaroni cheese. We'll see you next week.